Sean Bain from STLMinersReport.com, sitting here today with the manager of the Quad Cities River Bandits, Coach Johnny Rodriguez. Hey, thank you for joining us today.
Nice to have you here.
All right.
Nice to be with you.
First question is just how have you adjusted from going from the hitting coach at Johnson City to now being a manager? What were some of the adjustments that you had to make, or were there any?
I've managed, actually, the last 20 years, I've managed a lot of different places. And, you know, when I was a hitting guy, mainly I did the infielders and the outfielders and the hitting, and actually most managers that I was with depended on me on a lot of stuff. I set up the defense, all the defenses, so it wasn't. I've managed more than being a hitting guy in different places, but the whole thing is I had to do so much, including the defenses, so it wasn't that big of an adjustment. I mean, it's just the feel of the game. I've always had that. And I've been a student of the game for such a long time, so and I've always tried to kind of fine-tune all aspects of the game for myself. Not just to be one-sided, just make sure I understood the pitching, understood what that is, bullpens, and that's what I've done for 35 years, where it wasn't much of an adjustment.
Okay.
Actually, it was easier.
It was easier?
Yes.
What's some advice that you would give to a young player, maybe a little kid or a high school player that wants to be a professional baseball someday?
First, number one, he's got to learn to be disciplined. He must learn to have a good work ethic and to have a routine. And by doing those three things, you have an opportunity. The work ethic is important, you've got to have a routine, and you must be disciplined in what you're doing. If you do those three things, eventually, if you have any tools, you have a shot to play in the big leagues. At least for sure, you'll get a professional contract, and for sure, you get an education.
Okay. This week's fan question of the week comes from Bryce Brock. He's from Geneseo, Illinois, and Bryce wanted to know who are some players that Cardinal fans that are currently on the River Bandits that just really have stood out so far to you, from the beginning of the season to now, or who are some guys that have really improved?
Shelby Miller, Nico Vasquez, Luis Mateo, Matthew Adams, Brian Jackson. They've really done well. Rita Rodriguez could be something that also be looked at, but those 5-6 guys, they were the core of this team. They all, except for two of them, Shelby's still here, Matthew's still here, they all went to Palm Beach and they're doing a great job over there. They've had to make some new players take over their roles, but those 6 guys is something we should be looking for. You have Joe Kelly, the pitcher's still here. He's got a very bright future. He's got a great arm. Fornataro, Jorge Rondon, Jesse Simpson is a closer. Aaron Terry, but I say Miller, Matthew Adams, Brian Jackson, Nico Vasquez, Scott Snyder, who's over at also in Palm Beach, and Hooker, Eric Hooker, another guy that we look forward to. He's a competitor. He doesn't argue with his stuff, but just finds a way to get you out.
Out of all the players that you've managed throughout your career, is there one guy that has really stood out to be the guy that all baseball players should really look up to, just the way that they carry themselves?
Don Mattingly.
When
I was in the big league Yankees part of the staff. Don Mattingly, for me, was the ultimate hard worker. 23rd rounder, became a Hall of Famer. There's for discipline, work ethic, and develop a routine. He kept it through the minors, kept it through the big leagues, all the way through his career. Played more than he should have because he had a back injury. Had he not been such a routine, disciplined, hard-working ethic in the weight room and every aspect of the game, he wasn't a good defensive player. Made himself into a defensive player, an all-American. All-star in the American League. So for me, he's the epitome of a hard-working guy with a routine and discipline. And I brought up my son, who's now with Tampa, in that same manner. And I brought up my whole family. My other son who played with the Nationals as a catcher, and my daughters who played softball. I brought up everyone around me. That's the way I was as a player. That's the way I brought up my kids. And that's the way a player who wants advice from me is Don Mattingly. Routine, work ethic, and discipline. Discipline meaning doing it the right way, and talk to people who know about weights, who know about running, who know about defense, wherever they're playing. Get together with people who know their trade and their craft to be able to do it.
Okay. So, other than managing, what's something that that is another favorite pastime of yours? What do you really like to do other than in your
Preach
free
the
time?
word of God, Jesus Christ. The only reason I'm managing right now is that maybe one day God opens a major door and I manage in the big leagues to preach, to fight for freedom, to fight for what our founding fathers fought for, to fight what our pilgrims when they came over into a land of unknowns, that they stood for having a Bible in their hands. So my favorite pastime, well, I play football and I play basketball. I'm a very good athlete. I played all three sports. Been bigger, probably would have played a lot more basketball and football in college. And I signed pros, so I stayed with that. But for me, Jesus Christ, preach the word, not to enforce it or force it on anyone. Just give them the good news, let them make a decision.
Okay. Last couple questions.
Sure.
Just general baseball questions. The unwritten rules. Everybody seems to talk about those, especially lately with the Alex Rodriguez situation with Dallas Braden earlier in the year. What's your opinion on the unwritten rules, and is the minor leagues a chance for the guys to really understand what they are so that they respect the game more? Or?
Well, what happens in high school nowadays, you get more parents involved. So the unwritten rules and the real baseball tradition has gone away a little bit. There is things that are professionally, and it's just a baseball unwritten rule, like you're up by 7 runs, don't steal, 8th or 9th inning, don't bunt if you got no hitter going, don't try to break the no hitter up in the 5th, 6th inning with a drag bunt, earn it. First 4 innings, 3 innings, I got no problem with. First 4, 5th, 6th, and no hitters going, you got to swing your way into it. Of course, what he did crossing the mound. There are those things have kind of lacked because we're getting at the high school level. A lot of coaches, because of the money. I mean, just high school coaches just don't get paid. So you got to put a teacher out there, and bring a couple of coaches who play the game a little. So they really don't get a foundation. And at the same time, the college level is still.
Can I just steal a water behind you there?
Yeah, no problem.
Tradition.
You're going to Diet Pepsi, sure? Yeah, baby.
They don't have that tradition. They don't teach them. So what you're getting is they forget what the unwritten rules are.
Okay. And the last question is in regards to just the overall importance of baseball and American pastime. I know for a while there with the steroids, and it seemed like it had taken a few steps back when it for a few years it was going forward. It seems like now it's starting to go forward again. I just wanted to make a comment on myself. Guys like you are the guys that are helping this game move forward from that, and I just wanted to thank you for doing that and staying positive, and
Man, thank you.
thank you for doing that. Thank you for the
Thank
time for taking for this
man,
interview.
Thank you. Remember, it's about we play for the fans. Sometimes they say, "Oh, there's a lot of things going on, affiliates, all those in between." You have to. It's for the fans. The fans pay our salaries in the big leagues, and here and there. And if the fans don't go to games, or they don't watch games, the TV contracts go down. So it's for the fans, and we got to make it clear. We got to make it clean, and we have to make it interesting. And remember what tradition baseball was, the real American sports. It was the first one.
Right. That makes me think of one last question, and then this will be it.
Sure.
Can you talk about the fans here in the Quad Cities and just how the support that you guys have?
Outstanding. And I could have been in Florida. I asked for Quad Cities. I could have been in Florida State League. I asked for Quad Cities because I remember when I was in Clinton in 2001 with the Lumber Kings when the Expos were there. I was with the Expos there. I like the city. I like the scenery. I like the bridge. I like the river. I like that it's close to the water. I love being close to the water. So I knew it was a nice stadium back then. I said, and I heard that they got better. I said, hey, I think it's gonna be nice. So I asked for Quad Cities. It's like an outpost.
Right.
We're way down there. I mean, you look at where I live, Florida. We have a house in Arizona. So I asked for it. I said, I didn't have a problem with it. And
Yeah.
I think I made the right decision.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, and this will be up on STLMinersReport.com.